Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Summer almost here. That means it's almost boat season. G3s, Skeeters, Hurricanes, Suncatcher pontoons, Aquapatio pontoons, new boats, pre-owned boats, Yamaha outboard motors for you. Deals on all of them. Great warranties on all of them. Terrific customer service on everything you get there. On and on and on and on. Added up, since 1976, there's been no better place to buy a boat in East Tennessee, or North Georgia for that matter, or Middle Tennessee. That's why you have people that come from North Georgia, South Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, North Carolina, and then they buy online from all over the country and have boats shipped there. Great deals, always. Madisonville Marine, madmarine.com. Okay, Tennessee cooperated with the NCAA after they nuked Pruitt and crew, but there are some ways UT might have hurt its cause already. I'm going to throw out some things here. You can jump in and say, yes, it's that. No, it's not that. It's this instead. I'm just going to throw them out here and then you guys take it. First, should they have self-imposed a bowl ban in year one, as I said they should have on this show? I said, do it now. Why not do it? Well, if you get a bowl ban at this point, you're going to come back and look and say, was it really worth the overtime loss to Purdue in the Music City Bowl? Now that you're rebuilt, I wanted them to take a bowl ban. Will that hurt them, the fact that they didn't take one already? Should they have fired Phillip Fulmer? Technically, they did because they had to give him his buyout, but they allowed him to walk away saying he chose to retire and that the payout was a gift. Here's the thing. If we're talking about failure to monitor, and the charge they don't like is failure to monitor, who do you think that falls on? Who's in charge of monitoring the program? So, and he's going to be at the hearing. He will be there. Pruitt will be there. That will be interesting. And then number three, did they hurt themselves by winning too much? I mean, in all honesty, Josh Heupel's won 18 games in 2 years. He went 11-2, and you won the Orange Bowl this year. You missed the playoff by a game. It's hard to then come back and say, oh, we really self-imposed some penalties. Man, did we cut our own throats. See you at the Orange Bowl. That's tough. So those are the three things I'm like, question marks at this point. Bowl ban, should you have taken it? Should you have just whacked Phillip Fulmer like you actually did? Should you have just said it and not allowed him to save face so the NCAA would know it? And did you win too much, which is a bad break, but did you self-impose enough penalties, I guess, to really hurt your program that they will say you've done enough? Ryan, I'll let you start and everybody else can jump in. Any of those stand out to you or no?
I think there's maybe some credence to 11-2 hurting Tennessee. I think the NCAA wants to see you hurt a little bit. I think they want to see that the scholarship reductions that you've self-imposed have hurt you. They might be able to point to that and say, hey, you were already down some scholarships that year. Did that really set you back that much, or do you need a lot more? I don't know that this is necessarily about a bowl ban or anything like that. I mean, everyone that I've spoken to about this throughout the process have been pretty confident this is not going to end in a bowl ban. So if it does, that's going to be a severe miscalculation on Tennessee's part. But I do think the NCAA wants sort of their pound of flesh from Tennessee. And we talked about it before. They've said they're trying not to punish the student athletes that are sort of left in the wake of these messes. This will be a real test of that because they might want Tennessee to suffer a little bit, but who's going to suffer? It's got to be the players. So at a certain point, I think it's going to be how much is the NCAA willing to do, but some of that is maybe made worse by the fact that Tennessee's actually not paid a huge penalty on the field so far.
Well, and I also wonder, let's say it's not a bowl ban that you get now, but would you have helped your case by taking a bowl ban in that first year and just finishing the year at 7-5, you don't go to lose to Purdue in an overtime game in the Music City Bowl.
Saved them a loss in hindsight.
Yeah, you saved yourself a loss. But if you don't do that, does the NCAA look at it and say, oh, you also cost yourself bowl money, you didn't get the momentum? That one's still out there for me. But Vince, do any of these other things matter? Or you think of something else?
I kind of look at it differently. I think they should be able to compartmentalize. When you give a suspension to someone in any of the other sports, they're not going to say, well, you won too much during your suspension for other reasons, so we didn't hammer you enough. The next time, we're going to get somebody even harder. I don't think that's the case. I think those things are separate. And they don't want to punish the players. Well, are they going to look at it and say, we didn't punish the players enough because they didn't lose enough? We need to get them on the other end? I don't know that it's that. I think the other two have more legs to stand on.
The 11-2, it's not like these alleged violations help you build that program, right? It's not like all of these things you did brought in players. You lost 39 wasn't
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Didn't it?
yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I'm telling the NCAA. I mean, you say you're not going to punish the players. Give these kids credit for what they accomplished. Coach Fulmer, I think, is a very interesting one because, in a way, I wonder how many skeletons might be in that closet if you were to make him angry with how you handled this instead of giving him the nice buyout. So I can see both sides.
Surely
of
he
that.
wouldn't.
Well, you would think. I mean, you would think so. But then, if you're brought into an NCAA interrogation kinda, and you're asked a question, are you going to? I mean, are you going to sidestep? Anyway, I can see both sides of that.
That's interesting. If he's put in a position where he could take one for the school,
Yes,
but it sullies his reputation, well, that's interesting. That okay, because think about it. How many people out there would say, I'm going to take the bullet for my alma mater, but it's going to make me look bad? I don't know. That's not just a Fulmer thing. That makes a lot of people out there. You should be thinking at home, would I do that? Stand-up person would, but I don't know. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I was going to say, just to clarify, and I don't think the 11-2 thing is definitely an issue to where, like, that. I think that's the problem here. I think the problem is the sheer level of level 1 violations. I think the NCAA just probably looks at this, the precedent it might set for Tennessee to be essentially to have this in the rearview mirror in a couple of years and self-impose some things that maybe didn't even hurt that badly on the field. That, for them to say, okay, you can commit all those level 1 violations and be done with it that quickly, that might not be something they're okay with. I think, to me, that's the biggest issue, not so much that they went 11-2. I just wonder if the look of going 11-2 maybe makes them want to come down a little bit harder on the level 1.
Yeah, I just wonder if, they had to have gotten something wrong in this calculation. All we've heard was it's going to be hunky-dory, smooth, and roses and rainbows and puppy dogs. And then this hits, and it's like something went wrong. There was some miscalculation. I'm just wondering, is it something they've already done, or is there some other miscalculation? Why did they think they weren't going to get hit with a failure to monitor?
Well, I think the miscalculation was just that everyone, as we've talked about before, that throws themselves at the feet of the NCAA gets hammered harder.
Right.
And historically, that's what happens. So when we look at schools like LSU that kind of thumb their nose at the NCAA,
North Carolina,
you tend to get away with it a little bit better. They threw themselves at the feet of the NCAA. You're going to get hit harder. And
Missouri did the same.
That may be the miscalculation here.
Okay, very good.
And the bowl ban, I mean, I think that's a little bit more hindsight. I mean, throughout this
it's all
process,
hindsight.
yeah, but
That's what I'm asking.
right. But I'm saying throughout this entire process, until recently, until this hearing, we're thinking, well, man, that was a good call by Tennessee to not take that bowl ban and to move on. I mean,
I didn't, but
yeah, I thought they did the right thing.
I
at
think
the
most
time.
people did. Yeah, I was in the lone guy in the wilderness. I know Hodge and I talked about it on the show. Yeah, we would have just taken the bowl ban because the first year, just take the bowl ban, and it's one more thing you tell the NCAA. Look what we did for you. We tried to punish ourselves. And I think that may help you at this point. If you'd said all these scholarships, we didn't take the bowl money, we didn't get. Now I'd rather have that in the past and be done with it than have something coming in the future. So what is it? Go ahead.
I was going to say, the thing I've heard most from people in Alabama throughout this whole process who are mad about Jeremy Pruitt getting such a harsh penalty possibly is, why didn't Tennessee just pay him his buyout to make him go away? If this was all about that, just pay him his buyout and fire him, and don't throw yourselves to the NCAA and let yourselves be ripped apart the way this could end up.
Well, that's going to be the interesting thing is everybody at the time cheered it, loved it. I mean, the fan base ate it up because we got rid of Pruitt and we didn't have to pay him. Now you may wind up paying in a different way with a football program that you thought was rebuilt, and that's I would rather have just handed $12 million to Jeremy Pruitt.
Right.
But anyway, Kansas tried that as well, and it worked for them. So. We'll see. When we come back, though, we'll talk about what are we looking at penalties. We don't think a bowl ban's on the table, do we? What about more scholarship reductions? What would be the worst case scenario? What would be the best case scenario? That's an easy one. Come on back on the Sports Source.